Did you know that when children are between the ages of 2 and 7, they're in a developmental stage where they assume that everyone else sees, hears, and feels what they do? Hey there, I'm Dr. Dave, and on today's Thrive in 5, I'll give some tips about teaching your kiddos to share. If you're a parent of a young child, chances are you've had an experience where you've asked them to take turns or to share with you or with another child. If it went smoothly, awesome. But maybe, just maybe, it didn't go so well, and at least one person involved ended up in tears. And this can be pretty discouraging for parents. You want your child to be kind and learn to care about others' feelings, but sharing seems almost painful for them. So, what can you do? Well, here's a few tips. First, try to understand what sharing is like from your child's point of view. Little kids have a really hard time understanding how other people think and feel. And most kids think almost everything belongs to them. They might even feel like it's part of them. As you might imagine, that makes it really hard for them to share and to learn why they even should share. If you think about it, even adults have a hard time sharing sometimes, right? We just don't see it the same way as kids. So don't worry too much or be too quick to label your child as selfish if sharing is tough for them. It's totally 100% normal. It's probably not so much that you're being a bad kid as that, one, they feel really attached to what they see as theirs, and two, they have a hard time seeing the situation from another point of view. Empathetic thinking takes some time to learn, and just like it is for adults, sharing is especially hard for kiddos when they're tired or hungry, or when they feel threatened by other kids. All right, second tip, don't force them to share or scold them when they don't want to. If they don't want to share something, resist the urge to call them selfish or mean. Those kinds of things only teach them that sharing is no fun, and they want to do it even less. As with many things, kiddos like to have sharing be a choice, and sometimes they might choose to not share. When that happens, you might offer the other child a different toy or activity to distract them. All right, tip number 3, praise kiddos when they do share. It helps them know that sharing is good. For example, if you see them share a toy with a sibling or friend, you could say, "Oh, thank you for sharing. I bet they feel so happy that they get a turn." Encouragement, not force or punishment, is most likely to work long-term and actually help them learn the social and emotional skills they need. They may not be really good at sharing until they're about 5 or 6, but if you make the effort to notice and celebrate when they do share, it reinforces that positive behavior and makes them more likely to do it more often. Fourth tip, teach sharing by example. If you share your dessert with them, for example, they might recognize how glad they are that you did. Who doesn't like ice cream, right? Especially little kids, and they might wonder if sharing is tough for you too. It was probably tough, but you did it anyway. And if you share with neighbors and friends and other people like that, they notice. This is especially powerful if you share with a good attitude rather than complaining and dragging your feet about it. Let them know that even if sharing is hard, it can actually feel pretty good. And be sure to point out when other children or others share with them as well, especially how great they feel when the person shared with your child. Fifth and final tip, make sure your kiddos know you love them either way. For example, you could tell them that whether or not they choose to share, they're okay and you will always care about them. You don't have to make excuses for them, and definitely keep inviting them to share. But if you show love, whether they're in the mood to share or not, they'll probably actually be more willing to share. So those are my tips about sharing. First, remember that kids have a hard time understanding others' feelings, and that they might feel like everything belongs to them. Second, let sharing be a choice. Third, notice and encourage when kiddos do share. Fourth, teach sharing and a good attitude about sharing by example and point out when others share with them. And fifth, make sure you show love whether or not they choose to share. That's all for now. I'm Dr. Dave, and this has been another Thrive in 5. For the best relationship tips and happy hacks, visit drdavespeaks.com.